What's good, everybody? Welcome to the channel. And today I'll be reacting to what's the manniest mansplain that a man has ever explained to you. I was gonna react to something totally different, but when I seen the title, I just couldn't resist. And real quick, I really hate the word mansplain, but I got a question, and I hope after this video it'll be answered. Ladies, is it really mansplaining, or you really just don't like what we saying? Hmm. Let's get into the video.
Just here looking for your mansplainiest mansplains that any man has ever splained to you ever, and I'm actually gonna go first. Shocking. So when I was getting married, I was 24 years old, and I was the perfect Christian girl, and so I was a virgin. Also, I was gay and I didn't know it, so that's also probably why I succeeded at staying a virgin until 24. Anyway, but I didn't want kids, and so I said to my ex-husband, bro, why don't you get a vasectomy, right? This makes life simple. We'll snip, snap. We're all
Why don't you get your
good.
tube side?
And he was like, I just don't know if you understand what it would do to a man to know that he couldn't create a child when he's in his prime. Like, I don't know that I could ever make you understand what that would feel like. And I just don't know what that would do to me mentally. And I was like, cool, I'm gonna go get a shot that tells my body it's pregnant for years at a time, fucks up my hormones for life and makes me want to kill myself, but your masculinity's intact. So
Sounds
we're
fair.
good. I'm just here looking for your mansplainiest mansplains that any man has ever splained to you.
I simply did not want to wait to do my hair to make this video. I had a grown man after we finished hanging out ask me if I, finished. And I said no.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, well, maybe you just don't know that you finished. Maybe, it's possible you did and you just didn't realize. And proceeded to Google it to find out. And then sat there and went,
This man is the
no,
master at taking
no,
taking the attention off his soul.
Sir.
I'm just here looking for your mansplainiest mansplains that any man has ever splained to you.
So last year, I get a text from my 15-year-old daughter who is stuck in the bathroom at school because her male teacher would not let her go to the bathroom and she bled through her pants.
Just walk
I
out.
said, are you messing with me right now? Because if you're not, I will come get you, but I am bringing the crazy with me. She was not messing with me. I went, I demanded to speak to a principal, got handed off to a guy who then mansplained to me that she should have her period on her own time, between classes, when it's convenient to the school.
Have her period on her
That's what
own
she
time.
needs to
That
do.
is sick. Yo.
Yeah, we'll get right on that. I pulled her out of that school.
I'm just here looking for your mansplainiest mansplains that any man has ever splained to you.
I've had 6 babies, 8 pregnancies. I'm a bit of an expert. At my old job, I was taking my maternity leave with my 4th baby a week before my due date because I've had a couple of precipitous labors and I didn't want to have a baby at work. That's a big no thank you for me.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the other managers was mad at me because he thought I was just taking a vacation a week before my due date, which I'm allowed to do that too anyway, so I don't know what the fuck he was mad about. But he was telling me that babies can only come on their due date. A pregnancy is exactly 9 months long and they come only on their due date and no other day. I was like, bro, what's the NICU for? And he's like, that's preemies, they're different. I was like, okay, whatever. So babies can come on days besides their due date. Only a small percentage come on their due date. It can be as late as 42 weeks and it can be earlier than that. But they just don't usually come on their due date. And he was like, no, I bet you $20 this baby comes on his due date.
He bet money on it
I bet
too.
I'm just here looking for your mansplainiest mansplains that any man has ever splained to you.
I love this, and I'm not sure how it wasn't a trend sooner. So, I dated this guy for a while who turned out to be a narcissistic abuser. Obviously, they don't show that to you at first, otherwise you'd never date them in the first place. Anyway, so it was still kind of in the honeymoon love bombing phase, and he had spent the night at my place consecutively, and I had a clause in my lease that said, you can't have people over for more than 3 to 5 days or something. So I tell him this, and I'm like, hey, look, we just moved in, I have a roommate, I just want to make sure I'm not infringing upon my lease in a way that impacts her stay here or my stay here, so I think it's best if you go home tonight. A few days later, he comes back, and he's a little off, and we're talking and everything, and finally he goes, man, it is so difficult to stay mad at you, you're so cute. I was like, what? Mad at me? Why are you mad at me? And he was like, well, because you lied to me about your lease. And I was like, excuse me? Like for part 2.
I'm
No.
just here looking for your mansplainiest
No.
mansplains that any man has ever splained to you.
So I definitely did not expect you guys to have that quick of a reaction, but I guess mansplaining hits home for a lot of us. So
Okay.
here's part 2. So after my partner at the time tells me that I lied to him about my lease, I was essentially like, bro, what the fuck? What are you talking about? And he said, yeah, you made that up so that I didn't stay here another night. And I really kind of just wish you would have told me. And I was like, I would have just told you. And he's like, no, you definitely made that up. So at this point, I'm like, fuck it. I just pulled my lease and I showed him in black and white where it's like, tenants shall not have guests over more than 3 or 5, I don't remember, consecutive nights. And I showed him this. He's like, yeah, but that's not what that means. Like, well, how the fuck are you going to tell me that something in black and white doesn't mean exactly what it says? And I said, no, that is what it means. He said, it's not, Okay, here goes part 3. I'm doing a 3-minute without stitching the previous one because all of you got so fucking angry at how I laid out my video. So,
I'm angry.
I wanted to be petty and not give in, but here we go. So after telling me that what my lease said, like after literally showing him my lease said you can't, have guests here for more than 3 to 5 consecutive days, and him telling me, oh, that's not what that means. We obviously have like a back and forth where it's like, so how are you gonna tell me that right here, plain as day in English, which we both speak, it's like our native language, that's not what it means. And if that's the case, what are you telling me it means? And he was like, well, that's, in regards to subletting and
I'm gonna help her out. Basically, dude was homeless. He needed somewhere to stay, and if he thought if he packed her out good enough, she was gonna let him stay.
Has less experience or no experience than the woman.
I just summed up her whole story in a few seconds.
So I literally work with contracts. It is my job to analyze contracts and to write contracts and to respond to solicitations that award my company contracts. Like, that is my job. He was a mechanical engineer with like a shit garbage, command of the written English language. So this actually ended up being a fight for a long time, and he brought it up again months and months later. And I was finally like, it's my lease, it's my fucking lease. And he just like very coyly looks at me and goes, just because it's yours doesn't mean you know what it means. And I was like, the fuck, the actual fucking fuck. And I said to him, you know what, you're right. That was a poor way for me to express what I'm trying to get at, but I'm really frustrated. It's just very apparent to me that you think you're smarter than me, and you think that you can tell me what I know to be true is not true, and that's not something we're gonna do. This is like one of the mildest situations within my relationship with him, and it was just like a whole bunch of like gaslighting and mansplaining. And there's a couple more things I want to say. There've been a lot of differentiations in the comments between gaslighting and mansplaining, and that's absolutely correct. By definition, mansplaining and gaslighting are not the same. I think they do often present within the same situation, where mansplaining can be gaslighting, as in with this one, where he tried to explain to me, a person who is familiar with contracts, what the contract actually means, and it's a standard lease agreement, but also telling me that what I was reading was not factual. So hand in hand. Just want to, throw that out there. And then for everyone who's saying that my hair is like a Karen haircut, I know I've got like this mullet bun thing going on, but like, come on, really? What is this?
What the fuck does that even have to do with the...
What?
I'm just here looking for your mansplainiest mansplains that any man has ever splained to you.
As y'all know, I am a Shrek's worker, and I generally charge men a minimum of $1.99 a minute, and sometimes up to $5.99 a minute, just for the privilege of talking to me.
Get it.
The mansplainiest mansplain I've ever gotten was a guy explaining to me for 45 minutes how periods actually work, and that PMS isn't actually a thing. Made my car payment with that conversation. Just the only reason why.
Why were you having that conversation in the first place?
Because he tried to tell
That
me
wasn't
that
the time or
menstrual
place.
cramps actually exist. Tell me more, sir. Tell me more.
Just here looking for your mansplainiest mansplains that any man has ever splained to you ever.
Let's see how many I can fit into 60 seconds. One time when I was working in a liquor store, a man asked me where we kept the Scotch whiskey, so I let him order the Scotch. He then tried to explain to me that Scotch was not Scottish whiskey. The time I was pumping gas and a man came up to me and started explaining to me how to pump gas while I was pumping gas, going so far as removing the pump from my car to show me how to appropriately put it back in. The time I was wearing a Dragon Force t-shirt and a man came up to me and said that they couldn't actually play that fast. He knew that for a fact, despite admitting he had never seen them live before. At that point, I had seen them live at least 3 times. The time I was a writing tutor and a kid came in for help on William Shakespeare, and then I explained iambic pentameter to him and he said no, and then tried to explain it back to me incorrectly. The time I was in a creative writing course in college and I wrote a horror story for an assignment, and a kid tried to explain to me that women can't write horror stories because women are not subjected to anything scary enough to write about while he was holding my horror story.
What's the most fucked up thing that your parents told you as a kid that really hurt your feelings and is still stuck with you today?
So when I was younger, I used to ask my mom where's my dad all the time. Because he was never around.
Alright. Alright, for that video, some of the women had legit mansplaining scenarios. Others were just being fucking annoying. You know, I would have stopped and, you know what I mean, gave my perspective in between, but I suck at editing and I'm not gonna do that. That's why I leave my shit for the end mostly. But yeah, the longest one really pissed me off so bad because that story was so long and so pointless, and yeah, she entertained that for so long, bro. I don't even know what to say, honestly. I thought that was gonna be more entertaining than it was. Anyway, if you like the video, make sure you drop a like. Make sure you let me know how you like my reactions in the comments. If you want to see more of me, make sure you subscribe. And yeah, if you have anything you want me to react to personally, make sure you leave it down in the comment. All right, I'm out of here. I will see you all in the next video.